making ourselves better from the inside out. We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day.
Happy Thursday. Yes. Welcome to the Lady Nakia Wright Show, a life reimagined. Happy Thursday. I am so excited to be here with you on this evening. There's so much celebration in the air here in Washington, D.C. as the Nats are coming home to play tomorrow. Yes. Woo! Let me tell you something. I've never been this excited about baseball before. I am a home team fanatic every time they make it to the playoffs. Like the journey too, I may not be as committed, but once they get there, I am like the biggest mouth in the room. My husband be looking at me like, where were you all season? Go somewhere and sit down. Yes, I'm so excited. Let's go Nats. Let's bring home this trophy for the World Series. Yes. Listen, it meant not just the Nats that we're celebrating. My grandbaby, we have the cutest picture. If you are not looking on listenvisionlive.com or womansvoicematters.net, you're about to miss the cutest picture that you've ever seen. My grandbaby, Malia Wright, is celebrating her second birthday today. It gives me, look at her, yes! Oh my goodness, it has given us so much joy to raise her. She is such a heart rescuer. So if you're joining us for the very first time, my name is Dr. Nakia Wright, and I am Malia's grandmother. That's my handle. That's my title. She runs my entire world. Welcome to A Life Reimagined. Today is a day of celebration. It's a day of victory. For the next hour, all we're going to be doing is celebrating the vessels that are in the studio on tonight. You know that I've said this often, that we are all living a life reimagined. And the Lady Nakia Wright Show is just a platform to tell her story. Thank you so very much. Our listening audience is growing. Thank you so very much. You are my motivation to come out each and every week. Because trust me, every week I say to myself, you can be at home in the bed, in your pajamas, reading a very good book. But when I am reminded that this platform has saved lives, we're giving voices to women that has not had it in times past. We're offering a platform that I once wanted myself. So when someone does not invite you to the table, I'm living proof that you can create your own table. And it has been such a great journey. Thank you so very much. Speaking about journeys, did you know that Harriet Tubman movie is coming out on November 1st? Please, let's go to the theaters on opening weekend and support this movie. I had the pleasure of joining the production team and the press as they journeyed and walked out her path from Minty to Harriet. I had no idea, living in the state of Maryland, that there was so much history concerning slaves in Cambridge, Maryland. If you have not done so, you have to visit the Harriet Tubman Museum in Dorchester County. It was such a liberating moment. I am excited about this movie. I am not the person that will go to the theater to see a slave movie. I don't want to come out with the anxiety and the anger of watching what our ancestors had to go through, but this movie is the complete opposite. It is a story of her journey, her strength, her empowerment, and how she persevered. please bring a young lady and a young man to the theater with you on this weekend. I was talking to my girlfriend Marcy, and I said, let's go opening weekend and let's make sure that we bring a young lady or a young man with us, because our history is so important, and they have the opportunity to create modern day history in the days that we're living in. So will you join me the week it comes out November the 1st. I'm actually, Dizzy, I think that we have a video of my thoughts of the journey. Can we play that quickly? It was so good. Let's share that. Okay. Well, maybe we can pull that up on the break. I was standing in front of the store that Harriet, if you notice when you look at her left eye is somewhat closed, and she was walking in the store, and the owner of the store hit her over her eye and knocked her out unconscious. And as a result of that, she was unconscious, and she was considered damaged goods. So Harriet was not one of the slaves that worked in the house. She worked outside in the mud and the terrain, catching muskrats. I believe that's what she called muskrats. And that's how she learned how to navigate the waters to free the slaves. It's such an amazing story. So if we have that video, we'll play it on the break. Again, thank you so very much for joining myself, Lady Nakia Wright, for the Lady Nakia Wright Show. We're going to have a fabulous show tonight. My second favorite co-host, because my boo is my number one. But my second favorite co-host, Micha Woods, is in the building today. She's going to be joining me. I'm so excited. Yes! And I'll share a little bit about my infatuation with her when she's on the camera. But thank you. Please, while we're going to take a quick 20-second break, invite your friends, text everyone, let them know that the Lady Nakia Wright show is on. Tonight we're going to be highlighting breast cancer awareness as we have the entire month of October. New answers is going to be given. Fresh victory is going to be shared, and I believe that it's going to bless many. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with a brief break.
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day...
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day...
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that
Very
day,
Yes. We're looking deep on your screen tonight. Welcome back to the Lady Nakia Wright Show, A Life Reimagined. Thank you so very much for joining me each and every Thursday. Tonight, I'm excited about the panel of guests that we have before us. As you know, she's a familiar face to our show. My co-host for the evening, the one and only Miss Micha Woods. Yes. And joining me on this evening is Team Peterson, DeShonjila, and Kevin. Did I say that right? Because you know I would jack a name up in it.
DeShonjila.
DeShonjila. Shawnee, and Kevin are joining us on this evening. I'm excited to have Micha Woods back with us. We haven't seen her in a minute, and I have missed her. Yes. I'm always grateful for her yes. When I had the idea to have the show, I reached out to her and said, you always offer some great nuggets and some phenomenal words of wisdom that has helped women throughout your ages. And so would you join me on the journey at least once a month? And she said yes, and it's been such a joy. Each time she's on, I always get word about how her words have blessed so many lives. So thank you for your yes,
Well,
Micha.
thank you for having me. You know I enjoy being here.
Yes.
It's like the people aren't even here. It's just
I just asked.
girlfriends kicking it.
That's what I love. That's what I love. Listen, it don't even feel like work when we're together. It just feels like a great moment. And I'm honored to have Team Peterson here with us on this evening. In honor of Breast Cancer Awareness, I thought they would be an ideal couple. I first met them. Has it been 2 years? No.
So yeah, it's over 2 years.
Over
3 years.
Over 3 years. So a young lady by the name of Dariki was Miss Maryland at the time, and she wanted to. We were introduced to you all through a prayer line. What Lady Kim, I believe Lady Kim Lee, friend to the show, Lady Kim Lee, and we heard about you that you were diagnosed with cancer, breast cancer, and you found out after the diagnosis that you were pregnant. And you together, Team Peterson, decided that this is a blessing from God, that you were not going to abort the pregnancy, and you were not going to have chemo until after you gave birth.
Correct.
And Team Peterson is living proof that God keeps his promises, and they are here today to tell their story. Yeah, so I just did a synopsis of what I know, but Team Peterson, please, for the people that are hearing your voice for the first time, share your story, who you are, and how you got here, and your victory on the other side of some troublesome days.
My name is DeShonjila Peterson. I go by Shawnee. This is my better half.
Kevin. I go by Kevin.
In October of 2016, I was doing my self-breast examination, and I noticed that I had 2 lumps. And I immediately freaked out. And I'm like, oh my God, I have lumps. Kevin, come check. I can't remember if it was a late night or early morning, but it was dark outside.
It was a late night.
And so I'm just frantically like, please check. I feel it. I'm moving. The doctor told me the first time I had felt the lumps that it might be the milk ducts because I was breastfeeding. But some time had passed, and when I felt it, it was crazy. And so pretty much I went through the whole process of seeing the doctors, and I swear every single time I would go to another doctor and they would confirm or reconfirm or send me to another doctor or say, we need to look into it a little more. I just felt like this weight on me, like this can't be happening. I'm not even 40. I wouldn't even had a mammogram yet. So what's going on? God, we went through so much to have our first child. why would you give me this? You know, if you didn't want me to be here for my kid, you know, why would you give me this? And so in this whole tussle and fight and fussing with God, you know, I just continued to go through the process. And once I got diagnosed, November 22nd or 23rd of 2016, I pretty much got to the point that I kept talking to myself, and I'm like, all right, God, keep having these meetings. You know, I need to figure this out. You're going to keep me here, right? You know, the doctors gave me a pretty good diagnosis. They said, you know, you're stage 1. It looks like the cancer is encapsulated inside the breast tissue. So it doesn't look like it's spread. So the likelihood, if you get a double mastectomy, then you don't have to worry about doing chemo or radiation. So I had a really long come to Jesus session.
Come on, come to Jesus.
It was December 22nd or 23rd, somewhere around there. It was right before the holidays, and I was driving to work. It was a Monday. Let me back up. My husband that Saturday was like, I had a dream that you was pregnant. I was like,
come on, husband, and that intuition.
I was like, come on, what's her name, the one that got locked up? Miss Cleo. I was like,
Miss Cleo got locked up? Jesus.
I was like, no. Jesus is not going to bring a baby in this mess. Sorry, I didn't mean to bring that down. I was like, God is just not going to bring a child in this mess. You know, I know we wanted a second child, but, you know, we're good. So I go to work, and he gave me a pregnancy test, so I decided to take it.
Come on, husband. I know that you're having a baby now.
It's 6 o'clock in the morning. The halls are empty because everybody's gone for the holidays. And that pregnancy test turned blue. You know, they say, 2 minutes, 2 to 90? It was 2 seconds.
Wow.
And I'm in there wandering back and forth through the floor. Nobody's answering the phone. I'm like, what am I doing? Jesus, you are tripping. Like, why would you do this? And then I was like, thank you, Jesus. Because I realized how ungrateful I was being. But at the same time, I went through literally joy, anger, fear, all of them at the same time within a matter of seconds.
Wow.
And so
that's real.
I finally got in touch with Kevin. I think I talked to my parents first, and I finally got in touch with Kevin, and I was like, I'm pregnant. Like, WTF, I'm sorry. And I mean, that's honest. I was really frustrated. So then I got to the point where we had to tell my doctors, and my doctor said to me, you have 2 choices. He says, you can terminate the pregnancy and we start treatment right away, or you keep the baby. So backstory, Kevin and I, took us 7 years to have a kid successfully. We've had a late-term miscarriage. We had complications with our firstborn. And just in my spirit, I just was like, God wouldn't give us this child for me to have to make the decision to terminate it.
Mm-hmm.
So if he wants this baby to be gone, he's going to have to be the one to take it. And so that was the most excruciatingly hard decision I've ever had to make, because I felt like I was choosing between my family that it was here, that I was blessed to have, and the one that I was governed to protect.
That's good, Johnny.
Because who was going to fight for her if it wasn't for me?
Mm-hmm.
Anything that happened to me happens to her. Mm-hmm. And if God gave me that opportunity to have this vessel, I could hold off. I could fight as long as I got her here.
Amen.
And so I wanted Kevin to step in now, because I know we had a difference of opinion, you know?
I wanted my wife.
That's very good.
And that is in no way saying that I don't love my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
My youngest daughter, Zoe, she's full of energy. I love her to life. She is a breath of fresh air to me. She is the breath I breathe every day, along with my oldest daughter, Kelsey, and my wife, Shawnee. But I wanted my wife. Yeah. I did not want to lose my wife. And if that meant that I had to lose my child, then at that point, as selfish as that may have been, that's just what had to happen. And I tell people in that moment. So, Shawnee's favorite character is Wonder Woman, right? So in that moment, she became Wonder Woman to me.
Yes.
Because she was willing to risk it all to make sure our baby girl got here. And we did have a difference of opinion at first. But I told her, this is your choice. Whatever you decide, I'm with you 100%. You know, I tell people now, take your time before you get married, right? Because the ceremony is cute and everything, right?
Come on, Kevin.
But when they say for better or worse, sickness and in health, till death do you part, that's real. I'm not an emotional person. I don't know what's going on with me right now. Must be the heat. But
These hot flashes done made its way on down, Kevin.
We do that to people, Kevin, a.k.a. Kevin.
but
Yes.
it's real,
Yeah.
you know, and we've been through so much. And I'm just glad that we're here now to claim our victory,
Yes.
to share our story. I would encourage any man that's listening right now with a wife that's going through it. Be there for your lady.
That's good.
If she is not strong enough to fight, be strong enough for the both of you and fight.
That's good, sir. That's great advice.
This is one of the first time I'm showing emotion. I've been strong for a lot of years, holding a lot on my shoulders for my family. Because I'm the man of my family.
Yes.
I am going to protect my family by any means necessary at all costs. And for now, I'm going to let you take over.
This is so good. Listen, I appreciate you sharing the raw truth of this. I believe that only truth can save a life. Oftentimes, we glamorize our struggle and we leave out the parts that people need to survive because we don't tell the intimate details of the pain that this had to cause. I love God. I believe in him. I trust him. I just don't understand him. And not understanding him breeds emotions at that time. And if you aren't real with your emotions, who can you be real? What? I mean, this is the reality of it. And Micha, I have not had anybody who's walked the walk of this level of cancer, but Micha can truly relate the strength that you have to be at vulnerable moments.
When I was listening to your story and where you said, this is the first time I'm showing emotion, that's me. So in my marriage, I'm the strong one. And my husband is a man. But he tends to lead with his heart because he's more empathetic. Whereas I am very realistic. Like, these are the facts. I don't feel sorry for them. That's what, you know. And so just to share, 2015, my dad was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. And I grew up a daddy's girl, but somewhere along the way where he had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 kids outside of the marriage. When I got married and had my own kids, I was kind of like, I don't respect that. I don't understand that. And I just put all of my energy into focusing on my family and my kids. We weren't estranged, but we weren't like we were. And when I found out that he was sick, he called, left a voicemail message, and it was customary for me to look at the phone and go, I'll call him back later. So when I called him back, and he was in LA, and he said, I just found out that I have cancer. It's pancreatic cancer, which I'm familiar with, and I know that it's very aggressive. And he says, I want you to come out here and see me. He lived in LA. And I said, no, I'm not doing that because I have things lined up. I just started my own business, and I've always been the person that put my life on hold for everybody. And now I'm finally doing something for me. I had just quit my job, and I'm like, I can't. I have to use the power of no. And my husband said, well, if you don't go, I'm going to go. And he got on the plane, and he went out there to visit my dad. And he came back, and he said, He just wanted to tell you that he's sorry. So I said, okay, I'll go. I'll go and I'll see him. And that was on Easter Sunday. And I called him and I said, I'm going to get a plane ticket tomorrow, which was Monday. And his twin sister called me and told me that he didn't wake up.
Wow.
And so I had to do the planning of the funeral and everything because I'm the oldest child. And it's now 2019, heading into 2020, and I just started to process that grief and heal from that.
Wow.
So that's why I said I commend you, and I respect the fact that you're able to share your truth, because we have to be honest when we talk about how we feel about those things. It doesn't make me a bad person. It makes me human, because there's somebody out there that's probably feeling the way that I felt.
Yes.
But I can openly and honestly say I messed up.
That's very
And I
good.
should have went. And I should have listened to my husband. But I'm so stubborn and stuck in my ways that I didn't process or channel the way that I felt properly. And so I was left holding this bag that I've been carrying for years, the past 3-4 years, not knowing how to unpack it.
Wow.
Because it's so heavy that it's just easier to stuff it and shove it and make it go away. So I definitely commend you for sharing your truth, because when you said, I usually don't show my emotions because I'm a man, in my opinion, that's what a man is. Somebody that's not afraid, that has that courage to help his lady through the pain, but also unmask himself and say, this is me too.
Yes.
So thank you for
good.
that, for
Thank
sharing
you.
that.
Would you say that, Micha, thank you for sharing your story. We have both ends of the spectrum sitting at the table, and I'm grateful for the loud willingness of your hearts to share your truth. I don't take that lightly. To me, today at this table, you guys are truly the real MVPs. Would you say that this journey has brought you closer together? So she had full term, did you go full term?
I was a month. I actually, I guess, I wanted to nurse. So, and the picture that has been circulating on Facebook all over the place was of me breastfeeding my daughter. I just wanted that level of connectivity with her that, I got to have for 18 months with my oldest. And so it shows me nursing, but with one breast. And, I guess I had her 30 days earlier just so that I had more time. And then I started my treatments in the end of August. Yep. And so that was another year and a half of my life.
Wow. You had mentioned something earlier about the truth of finding out your diagnosis, facing it head on, making choices in it, and then dealing with the shame attached with the new you.
It post surgery?
Yes.
Yeah, it was hard. I had just lost 60 pounds before I got diagnosed. So I was on, when Jesus and I had that conversation on the way to work that Monday, I was like, okay, I'm about to get my sexy on. I'm going to get these breasts on the insurance policy. Because I've always been small, but I was like, okay, I'm going to upgrade myself. Thank you, Jesus. And so when it happened and I had to find a new me, it was like, what in the world? I mean, it shakes you.
I had to find a new me.
But you really go through that. I felt like I was going through puberty again and trying to figure out where I fit in the world, because I didn't fit anymore where I had been prior to. The concerns that I had, the people pleasing, and the just trying to make everybody feel okay, or the masks that I would wear so that I was who I thought I wanted, was acceptable or okay in this situation or that situation. The chameleon in me stopped, because you only get one life.
That's a great word.
And at that point, you have to choose you. If you got saggy boobs, you got a big belly, you too skinny, you have short hair, long hair, you wear weave, you wear lashes, whatever you are, do it for you. Not because the presentation needs to be for somebody else, but be okay with who you are, because at the end of the day, all of that can be taken. Yeah. And I didn't appreciate the girl that had raisinets.
This is good.
Big old ghetto booty with a little waist. I had my arm doesn't go straight.
But your husband loved you.
He did, but I didn't love me as much as he loved me, and that's where trouble happens in any relationship and in any life, whether it be friendship or marriage. And so the message is really learn to love where you are, because that state is the most perfect state of you at this moment. And if it's something you need to shift, you have time to change that, but love you at every phase of your life.
That's very good. The one thing that I believe as a society that we're guilty of is we don't like taking ownership of who we see in the mirror.
Yes.
And it's so easier to mimic somebody else's life because it looks good.
Yes.
And you want pieces of people to create a whole you, when you have to realize that every day, God does not make mistakes. He knows every hair that's on your head. We are wonderfully and perfectly made in his image. And if we walk out the image that he created, we will learn to love ourselves. And listen, society cannot define you. Only you can define you, and take the power away from anyone who feel as if they can.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you might not even define yourself well. That's why you need to look who God says you are.
Absolutely.
Because sometimes that's the only thing I had to stand on. Who he said I was made in his image. And at that point, I was made perfect. So there's nothing that can come upon me that can change that perfection.
Absolutely. Micha, I know that you have a strong message for women who have a problem with walking in their authentic self, and I'm going to ask you to say that in a second. Kevin, when you saw your wife struggling in the new norm of where she was, how did you sow into her heart to let her know that she is worthy, she's beautiful, nothing that can happen to her can ever take her beauty away?
I love the harder.
I love the harder.
Great answer.
Kevin, you are slaying the listening audience on tonight. I'm going to be his manager. If y'all want to book him at your next marriage conference, come through me.
I've always told, even back when we first met, DeShonjila was very self-conscious about herself. Back in '02, she was in a motorcycle accident, and it left her with what I call character marks.
Yes.
And the reason why I call them character marks is because they're telling a story of who she is. Okay?
Kevin.
And,
I do.
and you know, John Legend has a song, Flaws and All, right? And
Shami, make sure I get that song later on, because I don't know what he's talking about.
I'm sorry,
Beyonce.
It's
Beyonce.
Okay.
But John Legend sings a song that he sung to his wife. I can't think of the name of it, but
Oh, yeah.
I love my wife.
Amen.
All right, and I love my wife for who she is. And the one thing that I've always told her is that I'm going to love you hard enough for the both of us until you learn how to love yourself. And she knows how much I love her. I look at her the same way today as I did the day we got married.
Amen.
And neither one of us look the same. When we got married, and this bald head is partly by choice,
Partly by choice.
mostly because of the sunroof I have on the top.
I love this.
But love, you know.
Amen.
The Bible says a husband should love his wife as Christ loved the church.
Amen.
And I have agape love for my wife.
Amen. Come on, Mr. Peterson.
And I mean, love, you know.
Amen.
Love is how we got through it. Love is, a lot of time people want to do lip service. I don't do lip service. I show you.
Yes.
I show you how I love you. I show you how I'm going to be there for you. I show you how I'm going to protect you. I show you how no matter what, I'm going to look at you. I am going to kiss those marks where your boobs once was. I wasn't a boob man anyway. I was and that didn't go anyway.
Yes.
So to answer your question, love. I wanted to show her that I loved her. I will always love her. I will love her until I have no more breath in my body.
Amen. oftentimes when women are diagnosed with breast cancer, we look at just the story of the woman, and we don't realize, we often forget how powerful the husband's stories are that's walking with them. So I'm grateful, Kevin, that you're telling your story and that you have an answer for somebody else who may have a difficult time going through what you guys go through, because
Growing through.
yes, because life scars are real, and everybody don't recover from a life scar the same way. Oftentimes they need someone who's been there before to let them know that there is peace, there's joy, and there's happiness on the other side of this. So thank you so very much
Now,
for
the walk wasn't easy.
listen.
There's been plenty of nights that I went in the bathroom and closed the door, and I shed tears because tears wasn't what she needed to see.
Yes, that's
I
so
needed
good.
to be strong for her. So this walk, I tripped, I fell. The biggest thing is I always got back up and continued
That's
my
the
walk.
key. That's the key. In my family, we do have a history of breast cancer on my mother's side of the family. So I too was doing a self breast exam, and I found some knots on me. And I went to my husband, and I was in panic mode. I live with the bishop. I've seen him raise the dead, and I'm going to him fearful, like, oh my God, babe, I found 2 lumps in my breast. And he prayed for me that night, and you know, you go to bed thinking, I got babies that are depending on me. I cannot leave the earth right now. How can this happen to me? God, you know, you go through all of the emotion rather than the relationship of where you're supposed to be in times of trouble. And the next morning, I woke up in a puddle of blood, and the knots were gone. So I understand the fear of the find.
Yes.
Micha, I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm enjoying their story.
Yeah, isn't it powerful? It's impactful, and it should be told. I believe that African Americans, all races and all nationalities, but specifically African Americans, we don't have as many answers in the earth, not because they're not there, but we don't seek them.
Yeah.
And this, for me, is somebody who is fearful of the journey. This is an answered moment for them. So I thank you guys for telling your story. So tell us about this bouncing baby 2-year-old. So you went through the chemo. Your baby came out. She was perfectly healthy. And we are forever cancer-free.
Yes, amen. I claim that every day.
Yes.
God, my story is, every day I tell this story is the way it repels itself. Because as long as somebody knows that it's not just you going through this, that it's somebody here, and I'm praying that God would just show me a way to have a platform so that no matter who needs somebody, that he makes me available to just stand with them. Because sometimes you don't need all the conversation. You just need the support and the stand, you know. Just the body to know that I've been where you've been. I'm not negating anything. I don't have anything for you, but I'm here when you need me.
Amen. So you actually have shared your story very vocally on social media, and you do have your own platform that you've shared your story on. Share that with our listening audience.
So I have a blog called Pregnant with the Side of Cancer. I'm also on Instagram, Logan to Kelsey. I generally just put my 2 cents, my rants along the way. You'll see my beautiful girls. My husband tries to stay out of the limelight, but I'm going to put him in more often because his portion in this was important. And the men that are going through it, when they don't talk, you need to at least hear. And so he's been kind enough to write posts for me on my blog, just to hear a male perspective. And God willing, you know, if he gives me the will and the words, I would like to write about it, because I don't think that there is enough stories from the African American perspective. You know, it's a lot of things out there, but no knock on the church, but we like to pray things away. We grew up in families where they prayed things away.
That
And
is the
don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with prayer, because I believe
Absolutely.
that prayer is why I stand here today. Because my dad is my main line.
Come on, mainline.
And my mom is my rock, and she is always in the background doing whatever she needs to do. And my mother-in-law, she is truly not a mother-in-law. She's my Patty Ann and my bonus mom.
I love it.
And they stood in, my sister-in-law, my friends, everybody just rallied around us. But they need to know that there are people out there who do not have that support system.
Yeah.
And they just need to hear from me, hey, look, whatever you're going through, if you don't have the resource, let me help you find the resource. You know, if there's something I can do, let me try. And if I can't have, I know I have access to people now. And so my goal would be to link them with people. I don't know how to do it in a formalized way, but whatever I can do. You know, I'm a servant.
That's good. One thing I learned that prayer is my foundation. It's what keeps me. I'm sitting here in my right mind because of my prayer life. I am aware of that. But God raised up people, doctors, psychologists, voices that are on this platform to help me when I come out of my place of prayer and I need somebody to balance my thoughts, because that's what most of our issues are. We get caught in our own thoughts and our own minds, and it's hard to get out of that. He's raised people up in the earth to help us process those things, and it's necessary to reach out for help. Bishop said this a couple of Sundays ago, and my husband, who is thebomb.com.org, I love him. He's a strong general in the earth, and I don't know where I would be without him. Thank you. And he also pastors one of the greatest churches on earth, the Gathering at Forestville, and we do have services on Sundays at 10 o'clock a.m. at, is it 10? Yeah, it is 10. 7001 Belts Drive in Forestville, Maryland. If you don't have a church home, please come join us. If you are committed to a church home, stay where you are committed. We don't want nobody else's members. But if you don't have a church home of your own, come visit us on Sundays. My husband also always says this cute little saying. He was like, stop going up in your mind by yourself. He was like, stop going up in there by yourself. You need some help to go up in there with you. Don't keep going up in there by yourself. And it is true, because oftentimes our emotions rule us, where our relationship with God is supposed to take over. Yes. Our emotions become stronger than our purpose, stronger than our wisdom, and stronger than our know-how. So it's always great to have strong, committed vessels. I love your story. I admire each of you. I love you even the more. Kevin, you just touched a part of my heart, because not only are you willing to be a loud answer for your wife, but love is an action word. And through the entire process, you did not, when it was hurting you as much as it was hurting her, you loved her more.
Yeah, he never wavered from his assignment. That's what I'm sitting here listening. When you said, I wish I had a platform so that I could help people more, when Shawnee said that, and I'm saying, you just did that. That's what you're doing.
Yes.
And I am like a big champion for marriage. Not that I believe that everybody should be married. Because I used to think that I was never going to be married. I am too stubborn, too hard-headed. You know, I'm like, I'm not submitting. Nobody's going to boss me. But I do believe that some people are destined to be together. And I tell my husband that all the time. Like, who would be bothered with us but us? But it works, and it works really well. And when I'm listening to your story and watching how respectful you are, like, I'm going to let you speak, or I'm going to let him tell his story, and we're sharing the spotlight together, it shows that you're equally yoked, and that in itself could possibly help someone who's going through something different, that may see you as an example of, wait a minute, we need to bring this back in, rein it back in, so that we can move forward. So you never know what somebody's going to get from what you're going through, may help them grow through whatever it is that they're facing. Because as a unit, you guys are looking very good. Yeah. That's very good. Yeah.
I say, don't get it twisted.
Listen, nothing is perfect.
Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect.
I'm in one of those don't get it twisted marriages now.
Listen, the fact is that we're committed. We're in this together.
Yes.
Whatever it takes to make it work, let's do it. Every day is not going to be perfect, but our good days outweigh our bad days.
And it doesn't matter how you get in whatever it is you're going through. It matters how you come out of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
You have to come out of it better. Fight fair.
And stand together. Stand together.
Fight fair, all of that. Sticks and stones may break my bone, but words will never hurt me. That's a lie.
That's a lie. Words hurt worse than a punch in the face.
Yeah.
Because they replay.
They
Fight,
do.
Yes, they do.
Fight fair.
Fight fair.
That's good.
That's what I would say. Fight fair.
Bishop always says this. He said, there is a peace on the other side of war. That had you not ever gone through the war, you would never experience the peace that you're walking in today. So Team Peterson, thank you. I speak God's choice blessings over every area of your life. I pray that you will continue to get the power out of the pain, that you will continue to grow, that the Lord will enlarge your platform, and that you will share your story globally. I thank you. You're not only will you show that you're living proof that you can get through cancer, but you're living proof that when you stick together, that you too can accomplish anything. There's so much power in one. So I thank you for so very much for joining me on today. If you're listening and you've received anything from what they said, please share their story. I want as many people that can hear this story to hear their story, because this is just the beginning for them. There is so many lessons that can be learned and taught from their pain. Now that they have the victory to walk it out, and they have these loud megaphone, like, who can I help? I am not holding back one part of my story. Thank you for living loudly. Thank you. Micha, to the one and only, beside Bishop Wright, favorite co-host, the Lady Nakia Wright Show. Thank you for joining me on this evening. I'm excited. I'm always excited when you hear. I love your words of wisdom. They are encouragement to not only myself, but everyone else that's listening. And again, to our listening and viewing audience, thank you so very much. It's my heart's desire that something provoked, that you heard something to provoke a word in you, and that the fire that's in you will come alive, and that you'll walk out the greatest days of the uniqueness of who you were born to be. On behalf of myself and my phenomenal platform in this evening, thank you, and we look forward to seeing you on next Thursday at 8:00 p.m. And remember, if you're not busy on Sunday, we'll see you at 10 o'clock at Belts Drive. Until then, be blessed. Thank you.
Will you join us as we embark upon making ourselves better from the inside out? We have a lineup of dynamic speakers. We have topics that are uncharted and never discussed before that we will share. Our only desire for the day is that you become better.
You can stifle a victory with the anticipation of failure.
Wow.
And that day...